Hai, Assalamualaikum. We are from Group Seri Muka and today will be present about the emergence of Malaya warrior in the combating the colonialism. On the left side of the poster, you can see our group members' name, which is Shuhada, Atika, myself, Muhammad Zakir, Noman, Izati, and the others members. First of all, let me introduce myself first. My name is Muhammad Akil, and with me today, I will be present with my second presenter, which is,
Nur Shahada.
and we'll be talk about the emergence of the Malayan warriors. So I will pass to Hana for introduction of the topic.
For introduction of the topic is the existence of political parties as a vehicle of the struggle independence among this group occurred at the time of the uprising of the Malay Assembly led by Dato' On Jaafar using the Malayan Union in power in 1946. Their uprising worried the British. Moreover, see the personalities and worldview of these warrior figures which are very inconsistent with the soul of their hegemonism. Okay, the second point is British power began to emerge. The pattern of left nationalism that dominated the current of Malay nationalism in the 1940s could be patterned towards the dominance of the next group of right nationalism. Under the British rule of Malaya, under the leadership of senior nationalists, figures such as Dato' On Jaafar, the rest will be safe their economic security with the independence Malays under the leadership of progressive Asian fashion. Okay, after that, I will pass the at Zul.
So the factors that contribute to the topic is list of Malay warriors. The first one we have Datuk Abdul Said, which is Dul Said from Malacca. So he was a Nanning war. He's a Malay leader in Nanning. He opposed taxation by British taxation policy the area and refused to pay it, which this was direct cause of the conflict known as the Nanning War. The second one is Datuk Bahaman, which is from Pahang. His was a Semantan War, the famous Malay warrior in Pahang during British colonial. The cause of the Semantan War was because of the suspicion and dissatisfaction of the Orang Besar Pahang and the Orang Kaya Samantan toward the British interference of the terrorists. The third one is Tok Janggut, which is from Kelantan. He was a rebellion in Kelantan after the Anglo-Siamese Treaty of 1909. Britain took over the administration of Kelantan from Siam and immediately made a significant change in its administration system, triggered a rebellion, which is the independence fight gained support from most Kelantan residents who refused to pay taxes. So the fourth is Mat Saleh from Sabah, or we heard his real name is Datuk Paduka Muhammad Saleh bin Datu Balu. He was the warrior of Sabah. Mat Saleh was a prominent Sabahan who had his opposition to British colonialism in Sabah. Mat Saleh rose up against the changes brought by the British North Borneo Chartered Company, which is called BNVCC, to the local in Sabah because of the higher tax system. Beside that, the rice tax in BNBCC of most imposed as a mandatory license system tax on local residents who own boats as boats were main transportation at that time. The fourth point is Malay warrior combating the colonialism because they are trying to fight British colonization to gain freedom of their country. This is because they are trying to fight British colonization to gain freedom from the country. They gather a freedom fighter to fought British together and call for unification of the Malay people against the British Empire. They also want to gain independent to the covenant, their own country that make the Malay people to gain right for their homeland. So the effect of the topic, I will pass to the Hana.
The effect of the topic is the discussion begin to make the Malay fight for their rights, for freedom, and push away the colonizer to make the country free from being colonized. To make the country free from being colonized, as for example, in 1831, Dato Abdul Said, are known as the site, was supported by 1,000 Malays to fight against British as they proposed a taxation that is extremely burden the people. The site attack them and the incident is known as Nanning War. Even though the attack was unsuccessful, it gave the Malay a spirit to fight for freedom. The effect also turned to Malay to be officially a country recognized in the world as the British gave support to Malays to form the country. The requirement to form the country has a lot condition as one of it is unity of race. The Malaya has to be united with all the race Malay, Chinese, Indian, and Kadazan to form a country. Malaysia societies and nations have become role models for many emerging nations throughout the world. Malaysia has long been seen as a must-have country on the international stage. After that, I will present about lesson gained from the topic. Okay.
So the lesson gained from the topic is, in the 18th century, the Malay warrior fought against the British thought this battle took place at a different location, which is in various states and were years apart. It was a not allow all-out war to attain independence. They were not simultaneous nationwide battles, but these indeed were fired by patriotism. The second point is the uprising of the Malays was a result of the unhappiness prompted by British interference in the affair of the Malays and was not a revolutionary war. The history of the Malay state, despite that there was some of patriotic war were going on against the British during the 18th century through the schemes occurred in the different states and remain relocated instead of becoming a full-blown war like the American Revolution. Besides that, the uprising of the Malay was a result and the result of the unhappiness prompted by British interference in the affair of Malays and were not missionary war defending Malay custom that in the tradition and Malaysian substitute ruler and finally freedom from colonialism. Second, sorry, the next sub the next main idea was a good value that can be cultivate from the topic is the first one is initiative. So for initiative in the past in facing of the colonizers. All the Malay warrior went down against the colonizers without correction, any concern that they fought to the colonizers, colonizers at that time voluntarily for the sake of the nation and the country. The second point is optimistic. For optimistic, we have been revealed that once upon a time our warrior was very weak from the term of armament, but that did not stop them from at that time from fighting. The third point is don't give up. The term of don't give up was in the war for independence. Of course, the heroes had problem in their effort, but surrounding they still have a surrounding soul that which will certainly use them on the desired result or goal. The fourth is sincere. For sincere is no money was earned from the effort of the heroes in fighting for the independence of the homeland. They did not expect any reward from anyone in the effort to gain independence. The last point for good values was creative. For creative, certainly they were very creative with limited of weapon military and with military knowledge. They never had been in war before just because of the colonization. They must war to gain freedom from them. So they were able to compete with the colonial force that were clearly already trained and armed with weapons that were far more sophisticated that we had at the time. So the last main idea was conclusion, and the last part of this presentation I will pass to Anna.
The conclusion is historians see this uprising with a direct objection to the British interference as well as proof of unhappiness with the local rules who received help and protection from the British. The Malays were also dissatisfied over hefty and unfair tax imposed by the British administrators. At that time, among those who fought against the British in the 18th century, we were Datuk Bahaman, Tok Gajah, and Mat Kilau in Pahang, Tok Janggut in Kelantan, and Rentap in Sarawak, as well as Mat Saleh in Sabah. In Pahang, Abdul Rahman Tunku Imam Noh or Datuk Bahaman for the British in Semantan. The struggle in Semantan was a result of dissatisfaction among the Malays over British interference and began when Datuk Bahaman and his followers attacked CAM Debos and his escort at Sungai Semantan on December 15, 1891. Meanwhile, Dulcide or Abdul Said was the penghulu of Nanning in 1799. He opposed the imposition of taxes by the British and managed to defeat the latter into campaign fought over 2 years. And the Nanning War had made Dulcide and a hero in Malacca history. Datuk Mat Saleh or Mat Saleh was famous for his struggle against the British in Sabah. Dato' Mat Salleh fought the British from July 31, 1897 until January 31, 1900, when British mercenaries finally overran his fortress. Okay, thank you. This is my presentation.
That's all from us. Thank you.